The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight in a week in review, Fridays here on Beyond the Headlines, local government elections 2025 now history, but it didn't go off without major hiccups on some family islands. We talk about that coming up for you. Also tonight, we are going to have an update, a follow-up on the CV Bethel incident that happened earlier this week. Tonight, we hear from the mother of the student, the female student who allegedly attacked the teacher. And a little bit later, JoBeth Colby Davis. Yeah, you guys know that it's really in full swing now, election fever. She held a constituency event last evening saying, basically throwing out a dare to Dr. Sands that she will beat him come 2026. We'll talk about that and much more coming up on Beyond the Headlines. Good evening to all of you. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you join us this evening. Well, the local government elections are history. They're, of course, now a thing of the past, but a number of family islands experienced some hiccups, in particular Eleuthera, not to mention the low voter turnout nationwide. So, what happened? How did the Parliamentary Registrar Department sort of slip up and allow many polling stations, as we are being told, to open hours later? They're supposed to open at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, in parts of Eleuthera, 2:30 in the afternoon. And then some of the candidates' names weren't even on the ballots. We're going to talk about that this evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Our contributors, Leslie Miller and Michael Turnquest. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas.
It's good to see you both here. Guys, you know, first of all, remember that just some months ago, just before the year end, Clay Sweeting, the Minister of Local Government, was here talking about this newly passed law that's going to empower these practitioners, give them more autonomy. Really, really awesome. Of course, this aspect, whether it's a general election or a local government election, comes under the Parliamentary Registrar Department, so it's theirs to manage and to ensure that it runs very smoothly. And so here we have, hours later, the day following, only to hear of just the hiccups that happened that really should not have happened. Your thoughts about how many people had to sort of been turned around yesterday on some family islands, especially islands like Eleuthera?
Shanique, it's so funny that the Parliamentary Registrar came up because, I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why. Some weeks ago, a document came, I was, made a praise of a document that I seen that, we had individuals who would have basically given false Ministry of Education, that being, I think, the transcripts, false transcripts to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. They were caught, they were made known, and guess where they were transferred to? These persons couldn't, I didn't even know a G existed actually, after looking at the true transcript in terms of what their grades were. The true transcript, they were not, they were transferred to the Parliamentary Registrar Office.
Hold on, wait, Michael, you're speaking too fast. What are you saying? You're saying that these are people who applied.
Somebody applied to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. They were accepted.
To enter to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
They were accepted, but after they did further examination, come to find out the transcript that the documents that they provided were falsified, right?
So they didn't qualify.
They did not qualify
to go on the Defense Force.
You should see the grades. The true transcript, they completely did whatever to create a new transcript, submitted it. They were caught. There was a whole letter written.
So the Commodore and his team spotted that error.
Reached out to Ministry of Education.
Yes.
The true transcripts were provided, and basically with a statement from Ministry of Education that is obvious that what you have in your hand is false. This is the true transcripts. But these persons, rather than being penalized, and they were transferred to, I understand, 5
They
individuals.
were already employed by the
Yes.
Defense Force then.
And yes, and then transferred to the Parliamentary Registrar Office. So it doesn't surprise me.
What the hell they send them there for?
Well, obviously,
It's
we
ob-
see
it's
the
obvious-
we see the
it's obvious what they're
incompetence
doing. They're
that
screwing up our local elections.
Wait a minute now. This is now.
So-
None of this has been confirmed. You said you have documents to prove what you're saying.
Yes.
But this is all allegedly at the moment. So it's funny to find that, Michael, documents that you would have allegedly received.
And I had these for 3 weeks. It just so happened that this situation came up with the Parliamentary Registrar being unprepared. How could you local government elections were being held
Happens every
yesterday.
3 years.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
on the-
why is it you are not prepared? Why is it that your team did not? How could a polling station open 6 hours late?
Were these new people that they just put in place for the first time?
Who knows?
This is their first.
You
No,
know,
but it cannot be though.
I invite the Parliamentary Registrar Commission or Commissioner to come and speak to what happened with 2025's local government election. Hopefully they get it right the next time, because what that new bill and law now calls for is fixed dates. Fixed dates, so you can't mess up. But Michael, the fact that you are saying these people got G, not even F. G,
I did not know G existed.
G in high
what is
school
G?
and transcripts.
What is G?
Must see, God have mercy.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I
That's what,
figure
it's probably God have mercy. That's
That's
what
beyond F.
Yeah.
it goes beyond exactly. So, like I said, and now to hear this, that the Parliamentary Registrar had such delays, screw ups. I mean, how could names be missing off of ballots or
Names missing
spelled
off
incorrectly? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, it's
You know,
unacceptable.
there's something dangerous about this, you know. The general elections must be held by September of next year.
Yep.
So all these little screw-ups
All
that
these
be
little
under the
screw-ups
system
should not
now.
have happened. Yes.
And if they have those people there who defrauded the government to get into Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and you're going to transfer them to an agency
Something
that is not responsible for the general elections,
Take
it up.
Leslie, thank you. I'm just really
Huh?
hearing the gravity of it all.
Okay, take it up.
You faking your grades and you are defrauding
Huh?
a whole official government document. Just so that you can enter the Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
And now you're down there to the
which
Parliamentary Registration Department,
Which they
right?
spotted as a fake,
Huh?
so therefore they kicked you out, but you ain't
But
got
they
kicked
send you
out.
down the road.
You were
It's-
transferred to the Parliamentary Registrar Department?
Exactly.
Monroe
So my
gotta
thing
deal with
is,
that.
if you
Minister Monroe
you
gotta deal with
apply,
Who's responsible?
Minister Monroe
Oh.
is responsible.
how could you apply to the very
Minister of National
place?
Security. That's a national security issue, you know.
Oh, no.
That's a national security issue.
Yeah. It's
If your parliamentary registration names and operations is not right, you cannot have a fair election.
yes.
That's
It's-
a damning thing.
Listen to me. But the incompetence obviously was glaring
Right, but-
yesterday.
But this is where we talk about trying to make our government agencies more efficient. How are we ever going to be efficient when we allow certain things or people who can? I assume you can't. Some people can't read, write. You can't spell.
No, many Bahamians
Yeah.
can't read. No,
So
let's
you
be
know,
real about that.
we can't. Come on, we have to be serious. We can bring efficiency to our so-called government agencies, or we expect every day we expecting something better.
This has to be corrected
Yes.
immediately.
Well, I'll tell you this. No,
has to be corrected
yeah, because
immediately.
because you can have people who are incapable of carrying out the duties, the very, very important duties of the Parliamentary Registrar Department, as you said, Leslie, rightly
And the
so.
turnover was so low in all the
Yeah.
family others.
No,
I mean,
but then-
and that's
what do we-
not.
what do we-
the lowest
what do we-
that speaks to me. It speaks volumes. I mean, and this is what I hope that's not what we're looking forward to in the upcoming general.
Well, it was the case in the last election.
Well,
so
it
let's-
was, but that's because
so-
they was tired of who was there.
So let's talk about the
but I mean-
local government election and the
This
low
time would
turnout.
be different.
Yeah, so, but I mean, you would think that, if persons are that excited in terms of whatever's going on, that you would have.
And so many people came forward, new people,
Yeah.
to run in
So
these family other elections. I
you
saw
would-
it all over.
Yeah.
On the newspapers and every place else, people were buying.
and
to
people
get a
were
position.
actually campaigning. I mean, I saw, the
No,
social media
local,
flyers.
yeah, local government elections are
Yes,
no
yeah,
joke.
yes.
They go hard for that. They really do.
So
But
who's
it was
responsible for the
good to
screw of
see,
that?
and it was good to see so many young people.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of young
Yeah,
candidates vying for positions.
Yeah, very many young people, especially in Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Bahama.
So
absolutely
who's
led.
responsible for it? For yesterday?
For the mess up?
Yeah.
As you said,
I- debacle.
the Parliamentary Registrar Department.
And what is going to happen now then?
Well, then we need to know.
It can't be business as usual. eh?
No, we need to know. We
Who's the
need-
minister? Who's the minister in charge of
He-
that falls on?
I just
The
discovered.
Minister for National Security, that's Wayne Monroe.
Well, I'll tell you.
It comes under his portfolio.
Minister Monroe, let's hear from you.
They have a board, they have a chairman. right?
Minister Monroe,
Yep, they should.
Go and do your job.
Wayne Monroe, let's hear from you of what you're going to do, how you're going to hold the parliamentary
And it is
registrar
inexcusable that it happened
department
yesterday. Totally
responsible
inexcusable.
for such a sloppy, a very sloppy local government
Fifth-rate
elections
elections.
that took place yesterday
missing
on South
names
Family
and
Island.
6 hours late.
Yeah.
How the hell could that happen? That's not-
Because some of the workers
that-
didn't show up
but
until
that cannot be.
some of the
That
workers had to
cannot
eat
be.
their corned beef and grits
That cannot be.
before they reported
that
to
cannot
work to do.
be.
Yeah, but that's what it
Well,
was.
cannot
That's
be.
what
Whoever
it was.
showed up late,
That's
they
a
should have
bunch of
stayed home.
dumbness. They should have
Exactly.
stayed home.
And they should not-
Yes, because the people didn't show up on
And
time.
find a job
and to
someplace
take-
else.
Exactly, to take it
Yeah.
very seriously. Again, congratulations to those who won. Good for you.
I hope you won fairly.
Get out there and be busy about the people's
Not a
business.
damn thing,
But
no.
certainly, the parliamentary registrar department must get it together because, as you said, Leslie,
That's inexcusable.
in just over a year,
you got election.
there's general
But how you,
elections.
I'm trying to figure out how, so what did they do in the event where they saw names were missing off of ballots?
But
What,
people brought it to their attention. That's why some people were sent home and had to come back to go vote because they had to go and rewrite it all over again and print it all over again. You're
This-
playing dollhouse, eh?
come on, man.
What's going on?
This-
What's going on? Listen, guys, we want to talk about, we're going to really get to more election in a minute. In fact, you know what? Maybe we should stay there. Let's just stay right here for a minute. Election fever is in the air. Leslie said, listen, hold up, you all don't play around with this.
No, ma'am.
Because the general election
simple
happens
game?
next year.
It's
Well,
simple
listen,
game.
we saw and we're seeing, we don't see much from the F&M as yet in terms of constituency meetings or rallies or, you know, whatever it is that they would term them. But the PLP has jumped into action quick with these constituency meetings and they're ramping up. Last evening in Elizabeth, here is JoBeth Colby Davis, the incumbent, rallying the troops. Let's see if we can take a look.
I remember the last time he handled my name. I had to show him better than I could tell him. I remember when he was on the nose, I'll hit woman, but she can take a beating. Who take the beating? Who take the beating? And you still in your groups handling my name. See, I beat you when no one knew me. I beat you when I had much record to stand on. That's when I beat you. But now, I done built some houses. See, I done built some taxi drivers their pay. I done give out some livery rates. See, I gave some more entrepreneurs in the Bahamas than you ever done. Right? And now I hear them saying their lights are low. See, I can't stop hearing my phone ring. Light bill low. So I beat you when they did not know me. Sans, I want to let you know.
There you have her, JoBeth Colby Davis. I tell you, the PLP look like they somehow see somewhere like, you know, like when you're running the 100-meter dash and they trying to get a head start. So JoBeth Colby Davis, tough words there, Leslie and Michael, for Dwayne Sands.
You know, Shanique, I have to smile because, you know, the minister said, you know, they didn't know her then, now they know her, you know, but I don't know, a lot of people know the now minister and for a lot of good things. You know, there's been a lot of...
She has been dragged on social media.
Yeah, you know, there's
in
been a lot of
recent
things going on. I see she's wearing the Rolex that, you know, that was,
Well, you mean that video?
you know, that video where, you know, I don't, like I
I
said,
think
you
a
know.
lot of misjudgments on her part. Just a lot.
Yeah, so like I said, you know, it's obvious that, because I've seen, I think it was in Pinewood the night before, the Prime Minister and the whole contingent, you know, went out to Pinewood. It's obvious they know something that we don't know. Maybe election is right around the corner and we don't know. But we just talked about the parliamentary registrar not being ready. You know, I hope, like Mr. Miller said, they get the act together, because, you know, we can't go into an election and it seems that the PLP is gearing up for election.
Now, let's flip this. And Leslie, I don't know if you want to say something about Joe Beth, because earlier this week we talked about the fact that the PLP look like it's just them in this race, and the FNM is yet to continue tapping people on the shoulder and letting them be known. So, Michael, that's what you kind of basically suggested, the fact that, well, FNM, are you all in the game or not? But Leslie, go ahead about Joe Beth.
You know, 18 months ago, before the general election, actually almost 20 months before the general elections, we had a rally in Pinewood a couple of days ago. School decided to have a rally. It really wasn't a rally, it was a constituency meeting. She had a very lively crowd. But this is a tough lady, because she's taken a hell of a lot of blows lately. She doesn't give up. She's strong. She's very, very strong mentally. But what is amazing, though, the support that she has in her constituency is what surprises me. And I've been in her constituency. In most of our constituency, even in the constituency, the areas that you would normally say middle, upper class Bahamians, they respect her because of her tenacity, because of her toughness. You know, she's a fighter. And I don't see anyone really. There's no way Dr. Sands could beat her in our constituency. That ain't happen.
You really feel that way?
It cannot happen. It will not happen. No. She has that groundswell of support.
So you think, you don't think anyone that goes up against the now minister can beat her?
It's going to be very, very tough.
I mean, I think this next upcoming election will be it's going to be an interesting one. I think straight across the board.
Is a good representative. She helps her people as much as she can. She gets things done. She's forceful. When you go to Joe Biden and the people ask for something to get done, it's going to get done. You know, she don't play no games. She answers her phone.
As an MP?
She goes, as an MP.
Yeah,
she goes to that constituency.
You know, and that's key.
And she knows her people and they know her. So they have mutual respect for each other. I don't look to see her losing that seat.
You know, and I hear everything you say. You know, sometimes I think that we see a lot of members of member parliaments, once people get in office, they tend to forget, you know, where they come from and who they represent. And I always tell member parliaments, anyone, I don't care what side of the political divide you run for. Everyone has a sign on the back of their back says, you too can be replaced. Yep. And this is what a lot of these MPs forget. They become high and mighty, you know, and just
anytime an MP feel that they are above their people, they're gone.
Yeah,
they're finished. Yeah. And she doesn't have that attitude. She is with her people all the time. Mind you, it's going to be a little rough in every constituency.
I think.
Because people that didn't vote in the last election.
And we still have to take into effect, you know, how boundaries are going to be cut. Because I'm pretty sure, you know, I heard they're trying to plan.
There's going to be at least 2 new seats.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Go from 39, to 40 to 42 or something like that.
And to retain the government, you got to win the Southern Corridor, which can be about 9 to 10 seats. That's where the fight is really going to be.
Yeah.
And the Family Islands, in Grand Bahama,
and I think,
you mean
in the Southern Corridor,
you mean the Southern Corridor here in New Providence?
That's a very tough one. That's a very tough one for the PLP.
How are those MPs performing?
That's a very tough.
Who are the MPs in the Southern Corridor?
But good bit of those Southern Corridor seats are going to be very tough.
Very
tough for the PLP. Reason being because a lot of those members of Parliament decided that they want to go and forget about the people. Yeah. They're high and mighty. They don't want to answer their phones, so it's going to be very tough for them.
Leslie, who are 1 or 2 of the MPs in Southern Corridor?
Leslie knows one very well. Who? The one who left him. What's the one who left you sitting in the chair?
You had some good ones out there too, who lost before.
You don't want to call his name, Leslie. You don't want to call Barker's Roll name. That's Barker's Roll. What is he? Barker's Roll? South Beach?
They got Barker's Roll.
He in South Beach. Leslie knows him very well.
Dr. Darvel is out there.
Oh, that's South too?
You got 3 ladies out there.
What kind of MP is Dr. Darvel? What kind of MP is it, Dr. Darvel, truly?
I don't know him.
He's a very busy man.
MP. Busy man how?
Well, being the Minister of Health, he's all over the place, getting things done. he needs to get his team together that knows the constituency. Not the ones who is around him now, but he needs to get back to basics.
So it
My
sounds
opinion.
as though he's out of touch.
You got to get
Out
back
of
to
touch with
basics.
the
and
people.
Stick with who know the people and not
Right.
these new
You know,
ones
but
who just
you,
hanging on
and that's the
try to
issue
get
with
a
this.
damn PD, you know?
But that's the issue with this current government. You know, a lot of them are not in touch with the people and do not know the heartache, what's really happening.
Exactly.
You know, and they're completely out of touch. Completely. A good majority of them are completely out of touch with the little man who they say they
The
represent.
pot cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
so,
Leslie can't even get in the door to get a meeting.
Leslie got to sit there and say, you didn't call. I didn't give you a time. You sit there. And so, yeah.
Well,
That's,
he can't even talk.
I mean, things could have been better, you know? But that's the way it is.
that's what
You
it
take the
is.
bitter with the sweet, you know?
Yeah, that's what it is.
But
I
you
tell
never
you.
quit. You
No,
never
no,
quit.
you keep moving.
You went back? Did you finally get your meeting?
No, not yet.
You mean he ain't called you back yet?
Who's he?
Parker's Roy.
Who? Oh, Barker?
Where you going, Justin? Listen, I want to talk about also brewing in the PLP
I saw
is
Barker's
this. I
name.
want to throw this out there, y'all. I want to say this to you all about this. Something else in the PLP is this. The chairmanship is very interesting. I have been hearing Latrey Raming's name. We know he is an OPM and he is the Director of Communication. I've been hearing that he has his eyes on that seat and that people
The chairmanship, you want?
and people are open to it. They feel as though younger face, fresh voice, fresh perspective, and people are open to it, I'm understanding.
So he's stepping aside, the current chairman?
Well, if Mr. Mitchell wants to run again, he would have to step down as chairman to get the Fox Hill nomination again. But there are a few people vying for that position,
For the chairmanship.
chairmanship.
Yeah.
The Trace
Well,
is
Fred, he has to get back in his
nice young man.
constituency.
I think he has a good future.
He might. I think
I
he
don't
get-
see him giving up his job as working in the Prime Minister's office to take on the role as chairman, though.
But isn't that a bigger
Well, the PLP
post?
got to be
Is-
re-elected.
But isn't that a bigger post, the chairman?
could
Isn't
be,
that a
but-
bigger?
No,
It's supposed to be you take a lot of pressure and a lot of heat.
I don't know if it's a paid position. The chairman is not.
No, it's
it.
not.
No.
It's not a
You can
paid
see
position.
how what happened. I know he wanted it before. Donnie Johnson, name had come up. I think Donnie's looking at running again. I think he'd make a hell of a first-class MP. He was a good MP before.
Yes.
So I look forward to him getting back in the race.
Yes. Oh,
And a
yes.
few others, really.
You running?
I'll just
No.
be on the sidelines, helping who I can and who I believe is going to do a good job.
But I thought someone told me you was running again.
The pot cake is done.
I believe the pot cake.
I'm toast.
I really believe the pot cake looking at trying to throw his hat in the ring again. Listen, don't go
Under
anywhere.
no circumstances will I come back.
Leslie
Carlton
Miller,
Francis taught me one thing.
What'd he say?
God bless him. When you say you're gone,
Go.
make sure you
Stay-
go for good.
stay go.
Because the same people who pushing you to come back will be the first person to stab you in the back. There's no way they can stop the pot cake because I ain't coming back.
Dem said. Listen, I thank you, Michael, Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest. Thank you both very, very much. Listen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears, shift the tone of the show, talk a little mental health. As you head into this weekend, like, why not? Why not learn coping skills and how you are just to calm down and not let everything get to you so much? We're back right after this here on Beyond the Headlines.
On behalf of the entire flight crew and Western Air, we hope that you enjoyed your flight and we look forward to serving you in the near future.
Bahamas, are you ready? 2025. Keep the Bible Live Music represent. KB. Boy, you don't know me yet. KB. KB and Frank. The Folk Man Show.
All you Rankin Straight lovers out there, Saturday, February 1st, Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group invites you out to enjoy some Bahamian culture.
With Collect.
KB and Friends in concert, The Boatman Show.
Saturday, February 1st at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Can't wait to see you there.
The legendary KB and Friends. Exotic, Sweet Emily, plus Gino D, Colin McDonald, Irish Store in the Spank Band, Falcons, Ancient Man, Mama D, Shine 242 and more.
KB and Friends in concert at the Farm, Saturday, February 1st.
Tickets on sale at the Beauty Shack. Both locations, General 50, VIP 80. And for the Platinum fans, exclusive skyboxes are available. Gates open at 7 p.m. For more info, call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Let's keep the vibe alive.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation?
You mean the Ministry of Tourism?
No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do?
What does do?
Hey, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, you have been paying attention to the headlines in recent months. You have seen an uptick in attempted suicides and even suicides. Last year, there were in excess of 400 attempts alone, attempted suicides, male and female, even kids. Unfortunately, we saw the headlines with 1 or 2, I don't want to call it successful suicides, but suicides going through, or they going through with the suicide. Mental health is an issue here in the Bahamas. We see it played out. Remember the bus stop incident? And the gentleman who beat up the woman didn't even know her, what he said to her before he even hit her. And this was, "You remind me of my girlfriend." Mental health. It is more common than we think here in the Bahamas. And so the Key Club of the Bahamas is paying specific attention to mental health. I am joined by the district governor of the Key Club here in the Bahamas, also the head boy at Anatole Rogers Senior High School, Gerardo Anasias. Good evening to you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you here.
Good evening. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm glad to be here today.
I'm happy to have you here, Gerardo. So listen, let's just jump right in. You're really, you and the Key Club, you all are really tackling and focusing in on a very heavy topic. Why mental health? I mean, I just laid a foundation and we know why, we hear why, but why is that so important for the Key Club?
Okay, so why mental health? Well, Key Club is an organization that is mainly focused on leadership and care service. But as the governor and as serving my term for this year, I really felt as though mental health is an issue that really needed to be spotlighted a lot more, especially among the youth. I'm a student. It's the student life. I haven't been to colleges yet, but the student life is a very high pressure life. And I feel as though mental health isn't talked about enough, mental health isn't mentioned enough, and
on campuses, you mean?
On campus, amongst peers, amongst parents and families.
Is it still a taboo topic even now? Because you guys, you all show up as, hey, listen, man, we open and we can hear stuff, and yes, we need our mental health breaks, etc. But is it still a taboo topic?
I would say it is still a bit of a taboo topic. Personally, in my own home, with my family and my brothers especially, I encourage them to speak to me about how they're feeling about school. And because I've set that environment in my house, in home, my brothers are comfortable to speak to me about a lot of different things. But in terms of talking to a friend about how you're feeling about a situation, in terms of talking to maybe your parents, a trusted adult, even just talking about mental health, the stigma. If you're talking about mental health, it's like you're weak or something like
Ah,
that.
you're perceived as weak.
Especially for men too.
Especially for men.
Especially
yeah.
for
How do
men.
you handle then? How do you cope? Because mental health. I've said this from. I'll tell you this from 2018 on another show that I hosted called The Conversation with Shanique Miller. I've brought it to the public. I've brought it and I've put it out there on Front Street so that we kind of normalize the fact that, listen, we all on some spectrum, and if we don't control it, if we don't perhaps seek out assistance from time to time in the way of professionals, we will find ourselves slipping in any which way on that scale.
That is exactly true.
So the question was, how do you deal with it? How do you cope?
How do I cope with mental health? There are a couple of ways that I cope with mental health. Personally, I just like staying inside a room by myself and just thinking to myself, talking to myself to let myself know that things are gonna be okay. And then there's this quote that I always keep in mind: you are the sky, everything is just the weather. So even though you are feeling a specific type of way right now,
It's
just recognize it's temporary, it'll pass.
As the weather is.
As the weather is, exactly.
So what is that quote you tell yourself?
You are the sky, everything else is just the weather. So I always keep that in mind, even though things may be tough. Like, I'd given this specific example, like last week, had a situation with my board, and it was really stressing me out personally. And I was like, I really wanted to just stop, give up, and just be like, you know what, let things be as they are. But I was like, you know what? It's only for a temporary moment. It's only for a time. I'll probably only feel stressed, give or take a week and a half, and I'll be back to how I usually am. And so just keeping the end in mind that things will get better as they usually do, because I feel as though when we're in the negative, we tend to...
You feel overwhelmed.
And we tend to project that negative will continue on into the future when it's really only for a season or for a period.
You're so right. You're absolutely right. I love that. And the importance of speaking to yourself. I mean, your voice is the most important voice in your life.
Most definitely.
So hearing yourself tell yourself, just as you have said, listen, I am the sky, everything else is just the weather. Whatever it is, the quote, the Bible verse, the whatever it is you want to hang on to and repeat that, I mean, as often as you need to, it helps. How does the Key Club plan on, or is, trying to affect youth like yourself? I mean, you're the head boy, you're the student leader on the campus of Anatole Rogers. How do you try and share this even there?
Okay, so in general, Key Club is a service organization, student-led from all levels, international, district, on the club level, it's student-led. So, and obviously it's a service organization. So in terms of service, when you give back to the community, when you provide a service to the community or benefit the community or society as a whole, that gives you a sense of worth. If you feel
it does
because
giving back, you know something, you learn it early. That's really awesome. Many of us learn it a little bit later. That, you know, when you give of yourself and expecting nothing in return, there's this sort of fulfillment. Maybe we were all created just to kind of be that way,
to serve each other.
Yeah, and
exactly.
to serve each other, and it brings some sort of like just a reward you can't explain really.
And then to continue on, what have we done? Like recently, I believe it was this Tuesday, I actually worked with one of Key Club's international programs and partners, Erica's Lighthouse, a service organization. It's based in the United States, but a service organization mainly geared towards advocacy of mental health among school-age children. So I had a representative come on, speak to the different Key Clubs, presidents, secretaries, and whatnot, and then he directed us with the different mental health projects that we could perform in our respective schools. Some of the ones I remember, How Full Is Your Cup? Where basically you would give out cups of tea and coffee and then have people write down what is stressing you and post it on a board so that it advocates or lets people know that everyone is going through something and that your problems aren't unique and that everyone is going through something. And when you know that everyone is like you don't feel alone in the pain or in the stressed out situation or in the anxiety or in the pressure or in the depression. So that's just one of the things that I'm really pushing as Bahamas District Governor. And
with the load on students nowadays, I mean, you all have so many requirements to fulfill, especially a 12th grader like yourself.
Trust me.
What bit of advice would you give to another student that's watching this evening?
Okay, so I'm speaking to you, right? So a bit of advice I would give to 12th grade students, or just students in general, if you're feeling the pressure. First bit of advice, always have some time away for yourself. Be selfish with your time, right? This is something that I really needed to learn. I liked giving my time towards certain things. I was like, okay, I have the boundaries, exactly. I liked, okay, let's take care of this, and I got this and this. As soon as I reach them, I got so and so and so and so and so to finish. Take some time for yourself. Be selfish. Care for yourself is what I'm saying. You have to be selfish with yourself. Set boundaries. And it's not really even being selfish with yourself. It's just respecting yourself, respecting your mental health, your mental space. So have time dedicated to do the things that you love. Maybe you might do it early in the morning, maybe late in the night, but always have that time for you, because you are the closest person to yourself. And then please learn how to time manage and budget your time, because you might spend like maybe an hour or two doing so-and-so coursework, but then you have this to take care of as well. This deadline is coming up. Always have a timetable. Like personally, what I do, take my phone, notes app. This is my first thing I have to do. I'm only gonna do it for 30 minutes. Next thing I have to do. So
you have your time really itemized and budgeted to say, and so that you don't feel overwhelmed and you went like over on this end or the next. This is what I'm gonna meditate for 30 minutes. This is the kind of thing. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna read this chapter for this class for an hour. That kind of thing.
That kind of thing, exactly. And that way.
Or I'm gonna sit quietly and just relax. Just relax.
Exactly. So when you ahead of time plan your day out, you reduce the stress of saying, okay, what exactly do I have to accomplish? What do I have to achieve for the day? When am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? When you have it itemized and just set there, all you have to do is just look and go. So it really takes off the pressure in that sense.
So feel free and be very open, as you said, to writing down, writing your day, and then following what you've written.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then, let's see, next tip for 12th graders. Don't go it alone. Like, you have other 12th graders or other students with you who's going through the exact same things. If you have a specific problem, like, let's see, like me, I kind of missed one of my history BGCSE classes recently. So I have a friend who's there. He could help me with the notes whenever I do miss something. So look out for each other and find someone you could go that road with.
Create your village. You like that? You
create your
You could
village.
have that. You could.
I was stealing.
Yes,
I was already stealing.
Okay. I thought so. Smart. Yeah, Anatole Rogers, head boy, district governor for the Key Club. You know, hey, come back, man. Come back.
It'd
That's
be a
really
pleasure.
Yeah, it's good to hear someone like you so sober-minded and just focused and making life better. And then something that is so important that you're addressing, mental health, that not just kids and youth can latch onto and take hold of, but adults as well. And so thank you very much, Gerardo Anasius. Thank you very much for joining me here this evening on Beyond the Headlines. Good to meet you.
It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, speaking of budgeting and time and being sensible and all that stuff, we're going to talk finances. That's right. In the beginning of this year, to get us all financially healthy throughout the year and beyond. Beyond the Headlines is back after this.
Bahamas, are you ready? 2025. Keep the Bible Live Music Group present KB.
Boy, you don't know me yet. It's KB.
KB and friends. The Boatman Show.
All you Rankin Scrape lovers out there, Saturday, February 1st, Keep the Bible Live Music Group invites you out to enjoy some Bahamian culture.
With Colette.
KB and Friends in concert, The Boatman Show.
Saturday, February 1st at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Can't wait to see you there.
The legendary KB and Friends. Exotic, Sweet Emily, plus Gino D, Colin McDonald, Irish Store in the Spank Band, Falcons, Ancient Man, Mama Dish, Shine 242 and more.
KB and Friends in concert at the Farm, Saturday, February 1st.
Tickets on sale at the Beauty Shack. Low location, General 50, VIP 80. And for the Platinum fans. Exclusive skyboxes are available. Gates open at 7 p.m. For more info, call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Let's keep the vibe alive.
This new year, EV Motors is starting the year off strong with incredible savings on brand new electric vehicles. Charge into the new year with zero emissions and endless savings during our New Year clearance sale, where you can drive into 2025 with one of our brand new EVs at discounted prices. And that's not all. Take advantage of a special financing offer with CIBC Caribbean with a 4.5% interest rate and up to 10 years to repay. But hurry, the clock's ticking, and these deals won't last long. With our diverse selection, there's an EV here for everyone. Get the BYD Seagull Plus for as low as $258.43 per month. The Toyota BZ4X for as low as $512.91 per month. The BYD One Plus for as low as $392.79 per month. The BYD Song Plus for as low as $518 per month. The BYD Tank Plus for as low as $725.46 per month. The Mercedes-Benz for as low as $725.46 per month. The BMW iX3 for as low as $725.46 per month. The Carry Cargo Van for as low as $351.33 per month. And the Carry Elephant X7 truck for as low as $393.72 per month. Enjoy unbeatable clearance prices with our New Year clearance sale. Terms and conditions apply. Prices are VAT exclusive. It's the EV Motors New Year clearance sale. Call or visit us today to secure your brand new EV.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, we're going to begin a series of shows on helping you become financially literate, savvy. In 2025, if you don't intend to do things differently, you will find yourself committing the same mistakes and landing yourself exactly where you found yourself at the end of 2024. Well, this evening, I'm happy to have joining me Howard Johnson. Howard Johnson is president of Young Money Solutions in the United States, really based in Florida, but he runs several groups under the Young Money Solutions brand in hosting seminars and events with Americans, helping them become financially literate, helping them gain interest from budgeting, investing, savings, developing various strategies just to begin just realizing the dream of financial independence. Hello to you, Howard. It's good to have you here. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas. My mic was stuck. I couldn't unmute. I was hearing everything, and I was trying to get the mic unstuck, but I'm here now.
Good. I'm happy that you got it unstuck. It's good to have you here. I was just saying that you are president of a group called Young Money Solutions, where you run seminars, whether it's in the state of Florida or other states, helping Americans become financially literate. And of course, as a Bahamian, you decided why not share some of this information with Bahamians, who has been many times said by central bank have either between $300 or $1,000 in savings, or maybe not even that amount. And so obviously Bahamians have got to do better so that this year things look differently financially for them than they did last year. Leslie, let me conduct this interview, please. We can hear you. And so, yes, so Howard, let's just jump right in. I like your 8 pillars that you figure is a good place where people can begin. And so certainly, of course, you're the expert here. You conduct the seminars and hold the various meetings, multiple meetings a week. And so let's just jump right in.
Yeah, so Shanique, Young Money Solutions is a nonprofit organization, like you say, that focuses on basically increasing the financial capability and just creating financial wellness in what we call marginalized and underrepresented communities here in the United States. We focus on 3 pillars. We have like 8 different accounts or funds that you can use to get your financial life in order. But that'll come later. But we focus primarily on 3 specific foundational pillars, we call them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first pillar is saving and budgeting. The second pillar is investing. And the third pillar is retirement planning, which involves a combination of saving and investing for your later years after you've left the workforce.
Right. So let's look at savings and financial goals. Setting, everyone has financial goals, but are not disciplined enough, or perhaps don't even know what the first steps are to begin achieving those, especially people of menial income. So how do we begin to establish and then honor those financial goals?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is start with a shift in our mindset, right? Everything as it relates to money is psychological, particularly in our demographic, right? Our tribe. So when I say underrepresented or marginalized communities, I'm specifically talking about the African diaspora, right? Those of us who are the descendants of slaves who were brought to North America and to the Caribbean specifically. And that's the geographic area that Young Money likes to focus on. We're in the United States, the Tampa Bay specifically. But our mission is to reach people in the Western Hemisphere, North America, and the Caribbean, because they all form a part of the African diaspora, the peoples who are the descendants of slaves that have, on this side of the world, for most of history, have been economically disadvantaged, economically exploited, and are lagging far behind their white counterparts in many areas, in economics, in credit worthiness, in home ownership, in salaries. I mean, in accumulation of assets, in wealth. We're lagging very, very far behind. And it's all because of systemic and economic barriers that have been set in place from slavery times, and some persist today. And so when you see people of color in our communities are talking about, oh, I'm just bad at money, don't know how to manage money, they're financially vulnerable and financially stressed. It's not merely because they are bad at this, but it's because you have to look at some of these external forces that have impacted our communities for generations. Now, it's not our fault, we like to say at Young Money Solutions, but it's our responsibility. Nowadays, we have access to information, there's technology, things that we can do to get ourselves to break free from the vicious cycle of financial impediments, right? But the first thing we have to do is recognize what's happened, understand that we're responsible from making the changes, because there are things we can do to get ourselves free of this vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so mindset is of critical importance. And the first thing we have to do is recognize that something needs to be done. Something has to change. We don't want to continue living in these vicious cycles of poverty, mismanaging our money, and being stressed at the end of the day. So once that awareness and that recognition is there, and we're honest with ourselves that something needs to be done, then we can get on to the subsequent steps that are action oriented to help us build and accumulate wealth and increase our financial capability.
How do you get the people, because people in this category also have no respect for money, truly. They don't understand money is something that you actually respect. There comes the mindset shift. How do you shift the mindset so that people understand that, yes, it's good, but this is a tool that that can perform many sort of jobs for you?
Yeah, well, garbage in, garbage out, right? I mean, if you don't know, if there's nothing there in the way of education or good literacy and knowledge, then you're going to do a bunch of foolishness with your money, right? And so that is why organizations like Young Money Solutions were created, because we realized that some people are not going to be able to break free of these vicious cycles on their own. There needs to be persons like us, particularly us from our community, not to say that there aren't people in other communities who can teach us, but we need people from our communities who are the gatekeepers and who have the legitimacy when you look like us and who have been down the path and who have done some things to change their lives to now teach us. And so it's just a matter of being willing to go out there and look, seek, and find the resources and the help that you can need. We're in our communities, we're so good at focusing on entertainment value and fun stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, but everything has to be put in perspective, right? We have to begin to learn how to prioritize. We want to watch that football game. We want to see what's going on social media, right? We want to watch our reality shows and movies and all of this, play video games. Like, everybody wants to have the entertainment value aspect of their lives, right? But that has its place. But we need to begin now as a people collectively to focus on what our priorities are. Paying attention to your finances, sitting down and saying, I need to go through one of my bank statements and I need to focus on wants and needs from that bank statement. I need to cut out some of the garbage. What am I doing? What am I spending money on? What am I purchasing that's not a priority, that's not a need, but a want? And how do I cut those things out via reducing spending and cutting my expenses, so that I can channel those now into different areas where I can do things like build an emergency fund, start an investing account, just make sure that I'm not commingling my money. I have a rent fund where I'm putting money in all the time that's separate from an account that I'm using to do all of my other business, right? So I never touch that because that's exclusively for rent. We need to focus on getting the tools and the learning and the resources to help us and guide us into those things so that we can take the action, because it's all about taking action after you shift your mindset.
So give us some tangibles, right? Give us one tangible before we move into investing short and long term, one tangible to begin taking action and so that we separate wants and versus needs.
First thing, we always tell people when we begin working with them or groups, right, that we work with, we always say the first thing you need to do is get the latest bank statement from your primary checking account. I mean, that gleans so much information. So let's say we haven't reached the end of January yet, but from January 1, your bank statement, RBC, Scotiabank, Commonwealth, right? You grab that bank statement, and from January 1 to January 31, you look through there, right? You look at that bank statement, and you have your sheet of paper, and you split that down the middle, and you put needs on one side, and you put wants on the other side, right? And so once you do that, you go through that bank statement, put down from that bank statement what are needs and what are wants, right? And when you start realizing that some of these things that you're paying for, right? I ate out 12 times during the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Well, can we cut that down to 6? And now the money from that, we can reroute that somewhere from a want into a need, because you don't need to eat out 12 times in 2 weeks. You want to eat out 12 times in 2 weeks. So if you cut out six wants and reroute that money to some of the things that you need, an emergency fund, you need to save money for a car or down payment on a house. Now you can start putting those monies in these other priority things that you need. And that's the first place to start.
Their coffee alone is probably $7-8 a day. And then they want a little something. They want something to eat with that. So then easily maybe $20+ a day, and don't even realize it. Don't pay attention to it. Okay, so how about investing short and long term?
So investing is kind of a tough one to talk about outside of the United States, because here, once you're a permanent resident or a citizen of the United States, you have various options to you, from what they call, the fintechs like Robinhood and some of those other outfits, to the legacy discount investment brokers like Fidelity and Charles Schwab and Vanguard that people use over here. Like regular people like us, 9-to-5 people, now have access to the stock market that you see on TV, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I can open, well, I do have accounts, but if you're a permanent resident or United States citizen, you can open one of these accounts and you could start buying Apple stock and Tesla and everything else. I know that you can do some of those things in the Bahamas. I don't fully understand the systems. You have CFAL and one or two others that are there that you can use, Royal Fidelity. But investing is something that is important because it's growing wealth. When you save money, we do mostly the saving in the Bahamas. I remember my grandma used to have the brown paper bag, and she used to save the money and tie it with a string and put it in her bosom, right? But when you just save money, and you save money for priorities, but investing is the other element that's important, because that's how you grow money. When you save money, it's saved for priorities, but there's something called inflation, right? Money is always sitting in a bank with less than what the rate of inflation is. So the power of that dollar is constantly being eroded. So inflation is eating away at the true value of the amount of money you have in the bank. So investing is important. I know there's the port. They had the port the other day. I know you have the Bahamas Stock Exchange. Any of these things, or any of these opportunities, I'm issuing a clarion call to Bahamians. If you can invest, and watch out for scams now, but if you can seriously invest, because you have to grow your money above and beyond what today's current rate of inflation is in order for you to be making a profit.
Investing is perhaps your best bet versus that savings that's sitting there, where I think in the Bahamas, not sure about the United States, in the Bahamas I think it's like 0%, Michael? Like you get nothing on your savings.
Yeah, usually like there's 0.01% on some accounts here in the United States. Bank of America's checking account gives you 0.01%. Now, if you go to a credit union or one of the discount brokers like Fidelity, they're giving you between 3 and 5% on your money. Now, that's not to say that some savings accounts aren't important. You need liquid cash for an emergency fund, right? You need liquid cash for your rent. We're not saying to the exclusion of these things, but what we're saying is beyond the things that are needed to stabilize your finances in your everyday personal finance life, investing is going to be the best thing that you can do to grow wealth and leave a legacy for your future generations.
It really is, and investing is important, and there's so many ways you can do that. I understand there are opportunities through insurance and all this other thing as well.
Yes.
Howard, we're just getting started. Of course, you're going to join us again, because we're calling it Financial Literacy Fridays. So you're going to join us again with some other good, wonderful tidbits that we can grab onto and put into action in 2025 to at the end of this year to certainly be way ahead than we found ourselves at the end of last year. And so thank you very much for joining us. Howard Johnson, of course, again, President Young Money Solutions, an organization in the United States based in Florida, but works throughout the United States in groups and seminars and conferences and helping Americans become financially literate and smarter and just more independent, and passing that information on to us here in the Bahamas. Thank you once again. I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Of course, to my guests who joined me on tonight's show. Thank you to them as well. But thanks to all of you for hanging out all week long. We look forward to seeing you right back here on Monday evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed weekend, everyone.